stars on the sky. Imagine all the people living for today. You imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. No religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine there's no possessions. I wonder if you care. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people living for today. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one.
Thank you, Yaron Spiwak, and good morning to everyone. Yaron, you know that song holds such a very dear and special place in my heart, so thank you for singing it, and I trust to know that it has the same impact on all who are participating in our service this morning, whether they're coming live and or not at a different date. So thank you for bringing your talent to us this morning, and not only the beautiful song and the song as written by John Lennon, but so that we all may become more connected to the lyrics and specifically the last line of May the World Live as One, which is one of the things that we focus on here at the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. And I welcome you today to our Sunday celebration service. We come together every Sunday morning, as we have for over 30 years now, to honor the oneness that exists within each and every one of us. We come together to remember that we are all interconnected by means of the life force itself. And so I celebrate you for being a part of this today, whether you're joining us via live stream through Facebook and or Zoom itself, or YouTube, or watching at a later date. My name is Keith Cox. My title is Reverend Dr. Keith Cox, and I'm the spiritual leader here at the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. And it's my honor and my privilege and my pleasure to share this time together with you. We come together every Sunday morning, and we're here about an hour and 6 to 7 minutes as we commune together in the nature of nature known as spirit. And so I invite you to sit back and relax and enjoy the time, and to open your mind and your heart and your soul and your being, and allow spirit to make itself known to you in a new way today. I also encourage you to keep your audio turned off and your video turned off, unless I ask you to turn that on, which we will have a time together after the service and after we disconnect from our social media sites and social media platforms to do that. So until then, I encourage you to do that so that we can control what we have on the screen as we send this out into the world wide web and beyond. So we will have a time to say hello to every individual. We come together every Sunday morning, as I said, to honor this journey that we're all on. And before we move into that journey, I'd like to take a moment and introduce you to our guest musician who we've had with us Sundays before, and we all love her. Say hello to Melissa Lewis.
Hello. Hi, guys. Hi, Keith.
Hi, Melissa. We're so happy to have you with us this morning. Thank you for being here.
My
And
pleasure.
yeah. And so, how are you doing in the world right now?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. We're surviving. Almost
Good.
coming up again.
Well, as I've learned, it's a new day. It's another new day.
I
So
know.
we'll so thank you. Well, I know that you'll inspire us with your music today to engage each and every new day and each and every moment in a new way. Thank you for being here. Love and adore you, and can't wait to hear the beautiful songs you have to sing
Absolutely.
for us. So I'll welcome you
My
back in
pleasure.
just a
Thank you.
moment.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And so we come together every Sunday morning, as I said before, as a community that's been together for over 30 years. And I'll share with you on the screen what we teach. And what we teach here at the Center for Spiritual Living is a philosophy, faith, and way of life known as the science of mind. That's the primary focus that we have, which is a collaboration of all the great philosophies and spiritual teachings of the world that Dr. Ernest Holmes put together in a book called The Science of Mind. And the teaching is known as religious science. Lots of words that I know that get confusing over time. But what it all comes down to is what we teach is this deep understanding that we're all interconnected with the only thing that is. That's known as a power. It's called source, it's called life, it's called light, it's called the thing itself. It's also called God. And I often say, use that word if it works for you, and if it doesn't, use a different word that works for you. But we do not, as a philosophy, faith, and way of life, get attached to the term that you use, but are highly attached in the sense that we support your evolution, that you call upon this power often, and you call it from deep within because that's where it resides. And then it resides within you, and its qualities are peace, power, beauty, joy, light, life, love, and wisdom. We're not saying that these are the only qualities that exist by means of you and me and all sentient beings on this planet as this power itself. But those are qualities that have been labeled or designated that we can focus on in life to know that as we use them and use them wisely, that we have the opportunity to practice living that divine power that exists within us. And as we align our thoughts and our beliefs and our actions and our reactions and our interactions with the very thing itself, that we magnify and attract more of those things into our life. We do that because we live in a universe that is governed by spiritual law. And just like physical law, it's immutable and it's impersonal. And so, what that means to us is that when you and I develop a consciousness or a state of mind that is reflective of those qualities, peace, power, beauty, joy, light, life, love, and wisdom, we play a vital role in the co creation of our own individual lives that indeed makes life better. Not better because there's some outside deity or some outside source that's judging us, or that there is some mark that we must meet up to, just simply because we live in a universe of that spiritual law that we attract back into our world the very things that we magnify. And what we know is the primary way to do that is through our thoughts and our beliefs and the way that we speak and act and show up in life. And so we as a community want to support each and every individual in doing that in our life through our vision statement, which is supporting individuals finding their personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. I'm going to state that again for us, and I invite each and every one of us, no matter how many times you've heard that, to hear it anew and allow it to take root in your soul right now in a way that your life becomes a reflection of the statement itself. We support individuals finding their personal self empowerment through a spiritual awakening. And so today, during this time together, it is my goal and my objective and my intention to support each and every one of us in finding that spiritual awakening. We do that each morning as we start our service through a morning ritual. This ritual, if we were in person, would be that we would come together in our building, in our location at 1200 North La Brea Avenue. One individual would walk up to the bima and we would light a candle or candles. And so, as we perform this ritual this morning, we will light a virtual candle as we honor our program called Calling in the Light. The purpose of Calling in the Light is for you and I to anchor ourselves into that awareness, into the truth that exists, into a deep connection of the only thing that is. This morning we continue our theme of freedom, a way of life. We actually wrap it up this month for the month of July. And so I invite us all this morning to not only call in the light that already exists within you and within me, but let's remember that we have within us peace and power, beauty and joy, light and life, wisdom and love. This morning, before we came on the air, I was watching Representative John Lewis's casket on the caisson being taken across the Edmund Pettus Bridge, and hearing a myriad of people speak of one of the continuities in his life, no matter what he had gone through, was love. And so this morning, as we light our candle virtually and call in the light, I invite us to call in the light of Representative John Lewis and all that he stood for. And let that remind us that we have the power within us to change the world, just as that did that boy from Troy, who used to go out and practice preaching to the farmyard animals. And look at the life he led. And so as we light this candle virtually, I will recite the prayer that you see on your screen. It's from the World AIDS Day candle lighting that we typically do on World AIDS Day, but I find it to be most appropriate today. So I'll take a deep breath in, visualize a lighting of a virtual candle or a real candle, and hear these words. As we go forth, may we be empowered by the spirit of hope and healing, whose name is God, the divine source, and whose other name is love. May the blessings of love be upon us and within us always. May love's truth be upon our vision of healing. May love's wisdom dwell within our hearts. May love's persistence inspire our lips. And may love's gentleness give comfort to our bodies. And may love's gratitude accompany our sleep. May love's healing be a balm for our brokenness. May love's serenity give peace to our weary souls. May love's confidence energize our minds. Amen. And so it is. And so now Yaron will take us through our morning ritual song of calling in the light. And I invite you to sing along in the privacy of your own home. It's a call and response song, and I will end it with an affirmative prayer.
Calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love, calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love. I am love, I am peace in my heart. I am free, I am spirit, I am soul. All together we are whole. Calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love, calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love, calling in the light of love. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is.
And so it is. The light has indeed been called in. We affirm this, each and every one of us, individually and collectively, as we remember that the light of life is indeed within us as a quality of the only thing that is. And so I know for each one of us, as we navigate the journey of life beginning in this moment, that we allow the embers and the flame of the light of the divine that is deep within us to rise up and illuminate a pathway before us. One that, of course, includes change and times of disappointment and times of celebration and unrest and ease and comfort, all because it's an outpicturing of the creative process of life. But in this moment, we honor and revere and respect the life of John Lewis as an example to us, much like the life of Jesus was, whereby the individual has the power to transcend conditions through the intention and the purpose and the action of life itself, and using the inner guide and the inner wisdom of Source, God, the thing itself, to guide the way step by step, day by day, moment by moment, experience and expression by experience and expression. And so we let this reminder, this resonance field of life known as John Lewis, take root in our soul right now. And we know that it's there for us to call upon as we move about the journey of our life, as we continue to find our personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. And so I know and affirm and declare for each one of us right now we are spiritually awake. And so we move through this service together in this vibrational frequency with a deep sense of gratitude for the opportunity to come together and commune in and as spirit. And so it is. And so, speaking of communing in and as spirit, we have the opportunity to experience spirit in a new way today that is so fabulous and so dear to me. Her name is Melissa Lewis. I've introduced you to her already. So let's take a moment and allow ourselves to be bathed in the brilliance and talent and gifts of Melissa Lewis. Ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between and beyond, Melissa Lewis.
We believe in things we cannot see. Why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't we? Hands that heal can set a chained man free. Why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't we? And we believe there's peace within every heart. Why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't we? Burning brightly, brightly in the dark. Why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't we? So come on, darling, feel your spirits rise. Come on, children, open up your eyes. God is all around. Buddha's at the gate. Allah hears your prayer. It's not too late. We believe in things that give us hope. Why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't we? Let your voice be heard. Celebrate your vote. Why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't we? And we believe in things that make us all the same. Why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't we? Love belongs to all those in need and in name. Why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't we? So come on, darling, feel your spirits rise. Come on, children, open up your eyes. God is all around. Buddha's at the gate. Allah hears your prayers. It's not too late. Yeah, we believe in things that can't be done. Why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't we? Lift up your heart, put down that gun. Why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't we? So come on, darling, feel your spirits rise. Come on, children, open up your eyes. God is all around. Buddha's at the gate. Allah hears your prayer. It's not too late. God is all around. Buddha's at the gate. Allah hears your prayer. It's not too late. Why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't we? Yeah, we believe in things we cannot see. Why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't we?
Wow. Mm. I heard that song before, and I just heard it in a whole new way relative to um, speaking on John Lewis and watching his casket being carried over the Edmund Pettus Bridge. Thank you.
My pleasure.
So beautiful. love you, and love you. You know I love you, but I'm just telling you right now, I love you. I know. Thank you for being here, and thank you for sharing just the energy of light and life that you have within you. Such a gift. So thank you, Melissa. We'll see you on the other end of the service. So thank you. Thank you. So as I just shared with Melissa, I was so touched by that song. And I apologize to you as we move into this part of the service this morning that it looks like I'm using a camera from season 1 RuPaul's Drag Race. Many of you know what that means, with the fuzziness of my camera. So I'm not quite sure what that's about, but we're going to stick with it. Because if you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you going to love somebody else? Can I get an amen up in here? So in the vein of loving yourself, not only, I got an amen from Julie, not only must we learn to love ourselves, but we must get clear with who and what we are as individuals walking this planet on this journey of finding our personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening and what is ours to do. That's a huge saying in our movements today of what is mine to do. And I think that sometimes it gets swept under the rug, pun and no pun intended, and of just, okay, what is mine to do today? But I think it's important for us as we are indeed becoming more and more awakened to the interconnectedness of nature, and that we are all here navigating this planet together, while at the same time all individually on our own journey of finding our evolution and expressing that evolution, is to ask ourselves, what is my role here on earth? Not so much just what is mine to do. Maybe a greater question is, what is mine to do and what is mine to be? What is mine to be? We certainly all know that there is still continued civil unrest on the streets of our country, and most frankly and really in the streets of our city. I witnessed a protest on Thursday evening that ended up with 28 arrests less than 2 miles from my home. I was not in that part. I did not get arrested. You would know that. But the feeling, the vibration of what is transpiring is so disturbing and rewarding at the same time. And it can only exist because we do indeed live freely to the best of our ability in a society that is free. So I want to wrap up our message theme this month of freedom, a way of life. Going a little old school, I'm going to read some notes to you and let that prompt me as well to be inspired to chat. But I invite you to listen this morning from a perspective of just seeing what gets stirred up within you relative to freedom and making sure that freedom exists for all. Not only in our country, but on our planet. I'd like to begin with a tweet from Representative John Lewis that was tweeted out in June of 2018, and this is what he stated. I appeal to all of you to get into this great revolution that is sweeping this nation. Get in and stay in the streets of every city, every village, and hamlet of this nation until true freedom comes, until the revolution of 1776 is complete. Now, that call is certainly a call to action, and certainly we know with Representative John Lewis and many others that were part of the march at Selma and the March on Washington that the conditions certainly were not right or pleasant to get out and participate in creating social justice for all. And I'm not saying to you today to get out in the streets and do that unless that's something you're comfortable with, because we indeed are living in a pandemic. But let's broaden the horizon, our viewpoint in regards to this call to ask ourselves, what role are we playing in the role of our own personal conscious evolution that is contributing energetically to the revolution of 1776 becoming complete here on our soil and in our backyard? He also stated in 1963 at the March on Washington this in regards to freedom. Freedom is not a state. It is an act. It is not some enchanted garden perched high on a distant plateau where we can finally sit down and rest. Freedom is the continuous action we all must take, and each generation must do its part to create an even more fair and just society. I believe that what he's speaking to us there is that because we have the freedom to express ourselves as beings of light and life and peace and power and beauty and joy and wisdom. And within that wisdom, we know, and we know that we know when freedom does not exist for all, that it is incumbent upon us to do our part to create, to co-create a world that works for everyone. That is the motto for the Center for Spiritual Living as a global organization, to create a world that works for everyone. And you've heard me state over the last few years of our call to really be a conscious participant in that. And so today I invite us to continue to listen to that call and ask ourselves, what can we do? And what can we do may simply just be the continual act of focusing on the individual evolution in our own consciousness so that we radiate a frequency that is of goodwill, of righting wrongs, of being an outspoken individual in regards to supporting those that are oppressed in life. But I truly believe that what's important for us to do on this journey, as Reverend Christy Hardwick spoke to us last week about, is to remember that in freedom we have liberty. But the one thing that we do not have liberty to break from is our connection to spirit. And so the work for us to do right now may simply be the work on that spiritual awakening, whereby we indeed do find our personal self-empowerment. Dr. Holmes addresses this in one of the last messages he gave on a July 4th, and it's this: true freedom, true liberty has something cosmic behind it. It is if the time has come that modern science has proved that we cannot move a piece of paper without changing the balance of the entire physical universe, and many of you have heard this before, if we've come to the place where we know that the stuff of which our physical bodies are made is the same stuff of which the planets are made, if we've come to the place where such a profound unity is maintained that physicists believe there is no such thing as disunity in the physical world, then we can easily see what the great spiritual leaders of the ages meant when they told us of that greater unity in which we all live, move, and have our being. And that the idea of freedom itself is tied up with the true concept of the unity of good. If our nature is one, and I invite you to go deep in your mind right now and think and align with that statement in a new way. If our nature is one, if God is one, and we know that God must be one, for the universe cannot be divided against itself, then we are all tied into an indivisible unity. We shall have to get back to this unity to find the true meaning of freedom. Nothing in any part of this cosmic whole could be considered freedom that would destroy the liberty of some other part of it. What I'm hearing him tell us here is just like, as RuPaul told us, how the hell are you going to love somebody else if you can't love yourself? We're being told here is, how are you going to participate in making sure there is freedom from all, of living from oneness for all, if we're not doing that within and for ourselves? If we're not honoring the divine that exists within us, totally and completely and wholly. He goes on to tell us, much like Reverend Christy did last week, we're bound into a supreme unity. We are tied into an immutable law of irrevocable cause and effect. That is unity moving into action. Cause and effect is something that happens as a result of the use of unity. Consequently, we are one even while we are many. And since each one of us is a part of the whole, if we seek to destroy each other, we will only ultimately hurt ourselves. What he's telling us then is that for us to live in this unity, this freedom of understanding and consciously participating in the oneness of life and the cause and effect part of that system, that we are not free if we are consciously aware that hurt is taking place for someone else. That if Hurt is taking place on our planet, and we have the awareness of that, then on some levels, we are a participant in that hurt. Now, that's a big idea, and that's a lot to take on and to swallow. But what he's telling us here is that we must awaken every single day to the best of our ability to remember that for true and pure freedom to be expressed through us, we must be playing our part in fine tuning our mind to align with our divine nature and doing everything that we can within our power to make sure that that is an opportunity for all of humanity. Now, once again, a very big calling, but we can ask ourselves, what can we do today? What can we do today? And if we do what we believe we can do on a daily basis and be a conscious participant, then we are then indeed participating in the evolution of a spiritual awakening for humanity and rising up to a higher vibrational frequency than before, which is what it's all about when living as a conscious evolutionist. So we're asked then, what is the importance of freedom? Well, freedom is a condition in which people have the opportunity to speak, act, and pursue happiness without unnecessary external restrictions. Freedom is important because it leads to enhanced expressions of creativity and original thought, increased productivity, and an overall high quality of life. Now let's hear that again. That freedom is a condition in which people, expressions of humanity, and it may be the expressions of all sentient beings. Our call in life may be to support animals that are being abused, that to do our part to take care of any sentient beings. It may be your neighbor's dog that's not being taken care of. But I know that sounds a little left wing, but it's that understanding that we are here to participate in change, whatever that may look like, to participate in being an evolutionary participant for consciousness rising up. It goes on to say that freedom is important for all because it leads to enhanced expressions of creativity and original thought, increased productivity, and an overall high quality of life. For you and I to live from this perspective that we're making a difference on a daily basis, that is enhancing the opportunity for all to have expressions in an enhanced way of creativity, to live from a state of an original thought and being able to express those original thoughts, to live in a world of increased productivity and overall high quality of life. I believe we must have a consciousness that is founded in faith, in trust, in conviction, in wonder, and in the ability to experiment with what we truly believe as the power of God and who and what we are as those expressions. Ernest tells us that the creative law that we're always using in life, we use it like a mirror, that the thought we hold, the beliefs that we hold, is like an image, and the mirror reflects that image that you hold before it. In other words, if we want to ask ourselves what we truly believe, what we're truly thinking, all that we have to do is to look at our life. And then to take that further, because our life is the life of all beings. And so in the context and the vein of being fully free, I'd invite all of us to take a moment and to remember one of the first times that we remember in our lives when we indeed were fully free, and the happiness that it brought us, the moments of enhanced expressions of creativity in our life that was taking place, the original thought of what we could do when we were free for the first time, what that increased productivity may have felt like, and an overall high quality of life. As I was thinking of this for us today, I had a memory that came to me of my childhood. I was 10 or 11 and living in the bowels of Georgia, I like to say, but it was certainly rural Georgia. And there was a lake that was probably 8 miles, 9 miles away from us. And I remember having the freedom of my parents giving me the freedom to get on my bike early in the morning and to take off and ride to that lake and to have money to spend and to spend the whole day at the lake and going in the water swimming and laying on the beach and going to the jukebox and playing music that I liked and ordering cheeseburgers and corn dogs. And the day continued, and then as the sun would start to set, riding home down those long country roads alone and feeling free and feeling empowered and feeling connected. One of the few times in my life in that environment I felt that. But also knowing that there were moments of fear when there would be dogs that would come after me to chase me, or there would be farm animals or snakes on the street. But in looking back over that memory, what it brought up for me and reminded me of was this particular quote by Rumi, which is, "You were born with wings, why prefer to crawl through life?" I remember that time as feeling free enough to fly. And I know that that's the same for each one of you, and I invite any of you, if you'd like to share those moments, to pop them in the chat window and we'll take a look at them. But the reason I share that with you this morning is to remind you, as I reminded myself, that deep within us is a memory of the first time of being free. And that memory of being free set an imprint into our consciousness of knowing what is possible in life. To know that we are not bound and don't need to be bound by old ideology, that we don't need to be bound by fear, that we don't need to be bound by this outward imposition of what may have been told as being impossible. You've all heard this before, and I love this quote by Gil Atkinson, which is, "Impossible is just an opinion." And so today, during this last Sunday in July, in the year 2020, as COVID-19, the pandemic, continues to march on and march on and march on, as you and I have probably surrendered to some degree to this way of life, allowing it to become the norm of our everyday life, almost accepting at a very deep level that the conditions that have been imposed upon us will be the conditions for the rest of our lives, to stop and to tap in to a greater sense of creativity, to ask ourselves, what deep within me, based on a memory I have, can be the foundation to stimulate an enhanced expression of creativity for my life? What deep within me, what deep original thought within me is being sparked and called forth right now, waiting to be expressed in a manner of freedom to not only make my life more enhanced and a reflection of my divine nature, but that will support others? How right now and during this time of being sheltered at home and living a highly external restricted life, can there be more increased productivity in my life that will propagate a spiritual awakening for me and others, and ultimately finding a space in my life for personal self-empowerment, ultimately creating an overall higher quality of life than I had yesterday? The questions that I think that we have to ask ourselves are these: where can we go from here? Remembering that it's not just an internal journey, but an external journey, a communion with the power that is deep within us that we call God. To ask ourselves, what can we do today to be more free? What can we do today to allow freedom to be more as a way of life for ourselves, while still taking care of ourselves in the physical world? What can we confront in our life right now that is causing us to experience fear or doubt or success amnesia may exist. And to remember that through this confrontation, that deep within us is a deep-rooted memory in our consciousness of the first time of freedom. Wendy said she remembers that also, of being on her bicycle. But to know that for you and I to live as a free being, continuing to make a difference on this planet, we must step into a conscious participation in the co-creation of what is unfolding in our lives, the lives of others, and life itself. And so in that vein, we get to ask ourselves, what can we release today? What do we have trapped within us that is causing us a disturbance or unrest or angst or discord? And to release it, if we become conscious of it, opening up a space to be free for an original thought and to think anew and to express creativity in a new way. And then the last question of that is to ask ourselves, what can we be today as an expression of the divine to be more free? Today is the day to let go of it and to open ourselves up to something anew. To be anew requires us to be renewed. And so I affirm for you and I affirm for me, just as the Buddha tells us, that just as a snake sheds its skin, we must shed our past over and over and over. That today we shed the past of every single thing in our life that has had us bound or enslaved or entrapped or feeling anything less than free up until this very moment. Let's shed it. And in place of that which has been holding us back, let's choose to rise up to a new state of mind, to rise up to a new vibration of life, to rise up in the answer to the calling of not only being renewed, but to be a conscious participant in the change that is being called for today on this planet. Let's remember that Rise Up, as an acronym, means relaxing into spirit, energizes our universal power. We must relax into the very thing itself, so that when we look into that mirror that is reflecting our state of mind, it is reflecting the unity of life. And in so doing, the very thing itself, that universal power, is then energized to continue on the cycle of creation and bring forth into our experience of life more and more of the very thing it is. Ernest Holmes told us in the very beginning that I shared with you on this talk, that true freedom only exists from living as a unified being with the only thing it is. So today I invite and I encourage you, and I invite and encourage myself to create a new practice. And it's the practice of balancing our spiritual beingness with our human doingness, and never lose sight that both are the key to wholeness. And let's consciously engage not only that journey, but the alchemical process of turning whatever has been dark in our life into gold and letting it rise up. Because let's remember, the alchemist is the one who transforms all energies into higher frequencies of light and love. In other words, higher frequencies that reflect our divine nature. The alchemists are the bringers of a new dawn, transmuting the old paradigms into a higher intelligence and order. They act solely for the highest good of all, For love is the only master they answer to. Today, July 26th, in the year 2020, you and I have the opportunity to honor the beloved Reverend John Lewis and cross our own internal Edmund Pettus Bridge. To take the walk of the journey of finding our personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening, and by making a covenant and a commitment to live as the alchemist, to consciously be doing our part slowly, one flame at a time, to transform the murk and the mire in our consciousness by releasing it and letting it go into the vapors from which it came, and then revel in the gold that shows up. And the gold that shows up is a life that is well lived. And your life and my life and every other life as it's lived from a greater state of wellness, indeed takes us on that journey, step by step, of the change that is being called for. For yet, these times, they indeed are a changing, and you and I have before us the opportunity to play a role in it. Thank you. Namaste. And so to continue in this vein, our beloved Melissa has a song for us that will help us continue to evolve and to grow. Melissa, what's the title of the song?
Put a little love in your heart.
There you go. Melissa Lewis.
Think of your fellow man, lend him a helping hand, put a little love in your heart. You see it's getting late, oh please don't hesitate, put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place. Yes, this world will be a better place for you and me. You just wait and see. Yeah, another day goes by and still the children cry. Put a little love in your heart. If you want the world to know you won't let hatred grow, put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place. Yes, this world will be a better place for you and me. You just wait and see. Yeah, put a little love in your heart. Put a little love in your heart. Put a little love in your heart. Take a good look around, and if you're looking down, put a little love in your heart. Well, I hope when you decide kindness will be your guide, put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place. Yes, this world will be a better place for you and me. You just wait and see. Yeah, put a little love in your heart. Put a little love in your heart. Put a little love in your heart. Put a little love in your heart.
Aw, you just put a little love in my heart. I love it. I hope everyone was singing along as I was. Just put a little love in your heart. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here with us today. A big shout out to you and your beloved wife and your two daughters. How are they doing?
They're hanging in there. We're surviving.
Good. Are you guys getting any beach time?
We are. We went last week and it was delightful. Boogie.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. So happy to hear it. Well, thank you so very much for being here with us today and bringing your light and your life and your love and your love. You're
My pleasure.
such a delight, and I just you're a complete expression of spirit in all of its totality. So thank you,
Thank you.
thank you. So thank you. Now comes the time in our Sunday celebration service for conscious giving. It is a time for you and I to participate in the financial good of our community. I'll put on the screen the manners for manner in which you have or the opportunities to give, and then we will I'll explain those to you, and then we will have a little music as Yaron sings a song, and you can participate. We appreciate each and every amount of money that you give. Please know that, and I just want you to know that not only is it all appreciated, but it is put to very good use, and we are a I'm just trying to get it there. There we go. And we are a community that not only thrives and survives, but um, tithes as well. And so we choose to make a difference on this planet with all that has contributed and given by means of each of you. And I want you to know how much you're deeply appreciated during this time for consciously giving of your good and staying in the flow of life itself. You'll see on the screen the methods for giving. You can go to our website, CSL-LA.org, and click on donate. You can go to the app in the App Store for Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. Click on the upper left bars, and that'll guide you through that process. You can mail in the check. I was in the office this week and picked up a bunch of checks. Thank you all for that. No matter what the amount, I want you all to know they're deeply appreciated, and we appreciate you keeping us in the flow of good here as a community so that we may continue to support you and provide you with a safe space to find your personal self-empowerment and a spiritual awakening. And the last opportunity is if you'd like to do it privately, you can call me. My number's on the screen, and I'll be happy to handle that for you. You can also find all of that information on our website and through our weekly newsletter. So let's take a moment and do that. Yaron will take us through our song, Love is My Decision, and then I will do an affirmation for us. Yaron?
Love is my decision. It's up to me to give up my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, Source will show me how. Love is my decision, right here, right now.
So I affirm, preach into every one of us that love indeed is our decision. Love not just from that human emotion, but love as the self-givingness of spirit, whose desire is to create more of itself, and the only way that it can do that is through you and through me. And so today it is doing its part through you and through me as we participate not only in this service, but through the conscious giving. By using our prosperous and abundant nature to give, to replicate the nature of nature, and do so with the deepest of faith, with the greatest of conviction, that that which we sow returns to us multiplied abundantly. And we let it be, as we say together, and so it is. Thank you, Yaron. In the veins of thank you, a big thank you to Yaron Spiwak as our music director this morning. A big thank you to Melissa Lewis for sharing her talent and her gifts with us this morning. A big thank you to Travis Smith for being our audio technician and keeping us all in line in that direction. A big thank you to Rob Hensley as both our audio support technician, as our administrator in the office, and our social media director. So thank you, Rob, for that. Thank you, thank you. I want to remind you that in our teaching, if you would like support in your life, we have practitioners that can help you through that process. They are licensed and trained to support you as you need support on the journey of your finding your personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. Also, if you just need someone to talk to during these times, please feel free to reach out to one of them. Know that they would be more than grateful to have the opportunity to engage with you in that. And a big thank you to our practitioners for that. You can find their information on our website, csl-la.org, as well as through the app in the App Store, as well as you can access that information on our Tuesday newsletter that comes out. And if you haven't signed up for that, you can go to our website and it'll give you the opportunity to sign up right away. A big thank you to all of you for being here today to share with you some things that are going on. The class that Dr. Jim Lockhart is teaching is still available. You can go to his website or our website and get that information. There were 2 classes last week called A Hero's Journey. There will be 2 more classes this week. You can either participate in those live or you can watch them at a later date because they are indeed recorded. For those of you who know that our beloved Dr. Neil passed away a couple of Fridays ago, there is discussion around an online Zoom memorial service for him that will potentially take place this Thursday evening. The date has not been confirmed, but I do invite you to keep his family in your thoughts and prayers as we do have his internment this Thursday at 3 p.m. It's a private ceremony because of the COVID regulations. Let's also keep our beloved Dr. Sheila Hughes and her family in our prayers and thoughts as her father, Mr. Clifford Hughes, passed away this week. And we all know him because he had been with us for many years in his 90s, singing for us on a Sunday morning. If there's any information that I need to know that you all would like to share with me about someone in our community, please don't hesitate to reach out and do that. We're here to support you in each and every way that we can. And so know that you're all loved, appreciated, celebrated, and acknowledged. So we'll close this service by having a meditation. Prior to doing that, I will disconnect us from our social media site. So before I do that, just know for those of you that are staying on to please keep your cameras and your audio turned off until we give you permission to do that, and we'll go from there. Once again, a big thank you to everyone that participated this morning for bringing us this beautiful service on a Sunday morning in July. We will continue to provide great services for you. I invite you to invite your friends to join us through either Facebook and or social media, any other platform, as well as through Zoom. As you know, the city and the county and the state are continuing with restrictions, so it could be a while before we are face-to-face back in the building. So let's all stay connected to the best of our ability. With that said, let's close with a meditation. So I invite you all to close your eyes. Let's take a deep breath in together to the count of 3 through our nostrils. 1, 2, and 3. Holding. Exhaling out through the mouth. 1, 2, and 3. Inhaling again. 1, 2, and 3. Holding. Exhaling out through the mouth. And as we go deeper into our soul, into our psyche, I affirm for each of us the recollection and the memory of being free. A freedom not just in the human sense, but a freedom that is founded and a visceral awareness of the truth that we are indeed unified. As we go deeper into our soul, we connect to our spiritual DNA, where we know that we know that we know that we know that we're here to let out our light, to shine it brightly, to be the love that we are. To live life to its fullest, to emanate the peace of the divine, and to find and to express beauty in everything in life, which we know brings joy to the world. And as we revel and reside in this place within us, we allow the wisdom of the divine to rise up and guide us, remembering that we are not bound or shackled, but we are free, free to be. And so today is a new day to engage in that which is possible in our life to make a difference. And we say yes to that prior to its emergence, because we move forward with the faith of God, knowing that we are a conscious participant every step of the way of everything already being well, for all is well. And so it is.